Hello guys,
Hello.
this is Joshua from World Anime Networks
And I'm Lance, also from World Anime Networks.
and we are here today to review some TikTok videos about some art tips
Yeah.
that we haven't yet watched.
Mhm.
So let's get right into it.
Guys, I just figured out an easy way to draw feet and shoes. Start by drawing the sole. I'm drawing a boot. Then use the scale and distort tool and fiddle around with the size and perspective. Generally, you'll want the shape to be flattened out and thin. Once it looks alright, draw the rest of the shoe, being mindful of how its shape will curve around the sole.
Ooh.
It kind of looks weird on end though because the angle of these lines don't match with the direction of the leg. But after fixing those lines, I'm left with an effortless foot.
Okay.
I've never actually tried this approach before, and I think it can be quite useful because for most artists, I think the feet and the shoes is one of the most probably the second most difficult part of the body to draw, just because the form of the feet and
Yeah,
the
part
shoes.
itself, it has so many
Yeah, it has
bones in there.
like it has subtle nuances to like the small bumps to the bones. We have a lot of bones in our feet, so
But he did like a really nice
mm,
technique.
Mm.
He did like the shape first, and then he reshaped it based on the perspective that he's trying to do.
yeah.
So I think that's another way to draw.
Mm. I think I think it could work in most cases, especially if the style is a bit stylized and a bit simplified. But I'm not sure if whether or not it could work on a like semi-realistic style. What do you think?
Maybe I could use that on
Mm.
some cases, like when I'm working on layout.
Yeah, I think.
Maybe, yeah, making the basic shapes is going to be very helpful
Mm.
when you're drawing like figures right away.
Mm,
So I think this approach is very nice.
yeah, I've never seen this approach before, but I think it can be very useful, especially if you're under like deadlines and you're struggling with
that's
feet.
true.
Yeah, I think this could be useful, especially for like layout and animation.
Mm.
Yeah.
Hello everyone.
Hello.
Today I wanted to share how I can this into this.
I responded right away, right after she
You're
said
going to
hello.
start by doing a floor plan. That is a flat shape that represents the shape of your room.
What?
What?
Sorry, can
Wait,
we
what?
just go back? Hello, back.
Hello everyone. Today I wanted to share how I turn this into this. You're going to start by doing a floor plan. That is a flat shape that represents the shape of your room.
It's kind of similar from the
On
first
floor
one.
plan, grab these boxes to represent furniture. And then, when you're happy with the shape, it's
Ooh.
time to pull
Ooh.
the flat image into perspective.
Ooh.
Mine looked like this. You pull it into perspective, it's time to build up the furniture and
Wait,
the walls of
that's
your room.
that's actually.
make-
That's actually pretty brilliant.
Yeah, that's
actually
actually.
good
I've
idea.
never tried this as well
Yeah.
before, but there's actually so many things you can do with the transform tool if you think about it.
Yeah.
But I've never tried this approach before as well. It's like I've tried it probably on characters,
Mm.
but it never occurred to me that I could actually use it for backgrounds as well, which is I think I should be using it more for backgrounds because backgrounds are more like constructed into the perspective, right? Like
Yeah. This is pretty exciting for
Mm.
me because you actually draw the furnitures and
Mm.
everything inside the space first.
Mm.
So you actually have the exact spacing of where the sofa would go, the
Yeah.
table would go, and then you just put it on the perspective so it's easier for you to draw it
Hmm.
when you're like trying to make layout work.
Yeah, definitely. But I think I'm not sure, like, because I think you'd be eyeing, like, you'd be estimating the perspective as much. So I think there's a danger of like having it too skewed or foreshortened. So I think you need to have like basic knowledge of perspective first before you can actually
Yeah.
start doing these things, because you might end up doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah, like-
Fundamentals.
Yeah,
very important.
fundamentals. Learn your fundamentals.
So let's
Make
continue.
sure that I keep that original shape I created. Walls help as a guide for the furniture later on. I usually separate the layers of the
Uh-oh.
different furniture.
Look at
It's actually that
This whole
easy?
sketching
I
process took
never
me
knew that.
approximately 10 minutes, but it would take me significantly longer had I not used this technique. I'm not
Yeah,
a fan
it
of
definitely
gatekeeping
helped.
techniques, so
Yeah,
think
it would
it's fine.
definitely help us.
Might use that
Thank you
next
for
time.
this tip.
How to add
Next
more
video.
life to your art. Part 1. Something I always struggle with is I draw sketches that are full of life and depth, but then when I draw the line art, it just feels flat for some reason. But then I watched a video from my favorite artist of literally all time. She draws her line art on the same layer as her sketch, and she literally erases
what?
it as she goes and just goes over it with the darker color. And she doesn't care about making the lines exactly perfect either. And look at how beautiful her art is. So I made 2 drawings. In the first one, I did what I always do, and I drew the sketch and then the line art on a separate layer. And in the second one, I drew with a lighter color first and then went over it with a darker brown. And bro, there is a difference. I don't know if you can tell, but like, I don't know. My theory is that it gets you out of your head and it gets you more into the flow of art. Anyways, let me know what you think and like for a part 2.
I'm not so sure about this tip, because line art actually has a lot of like the fundamentals needed to execute it correctly, like especially with like depth, like and contrast and lighting and like overlaps, like when like when things are further away from the viewer, like lines are supposed to be thinner. So if you don't know that, and like you're just basing it off of gut feeling, I think it can be a hit or miss.
Yeah, it could
So-
get messy and
Yeah.
chaotic sometimes when you do like rough sketches and then put line art on top of it. It could get really messy.
Yeah.
Not unless you're like very aware how much you wanna put the roughness on some of the sides. Like treat it like you're trying to compose something that it's going to help focus on where you want it to focus
Yeah,
on your
because
illustration.
line art isn't like a simple thing. It's actually quite hard, and you need to know a lot of things regarding like I think almost everything, because like you need to know about anatomy, perspective, lighting, values. All of those fundamentals actually goes into the line art, and it's not just like tracing the sketch. You know, like
This type
it's
of
not that
approach, I
simple.
think it's solely based on your style. If
yeah.
it's going to work for you, then it'll work for you. But if
Yeah.
you feel like it's not going to, it's not. But basically, everything that you put on the canvas, you can use it for your advantage to help you compose your illustrations.
Yeah, it's mostly composition is also part of line art. So yeah, fundamentals again. Oh, what do you think, Lance? I think
He's cheating. He's cheating.
no. Actually, I think he's. It's kind of making it more difficult for yourself, because usually, like, for most artists, I don't know, like, I usually just divide the face into thirds, and I know roughly where to place my eyes instead of like drawing those little circles, which kind of takes more effort because you need to like draw them evenly, right? And I think learning the basic proportions of the faces, it's not that hard. Like I mean, this could work in this angle, but like what if you
Turn it around.
yeah, like you put it into a perspective now.
That's gonna look weird.
Yeah, it's gonna look weird. But I don't know if this artist actually has a way of doing this method in a certain angle as well. But yeah, I think it could work. I mean, it all depends because there's no really like set rule of how to like approach your proportions, right? Like you can just it could vary from artist to artist depending on style, especially like the thirds of the face actually can be a bit smaller than the other ones and some based on the parts of the face. So I think
Is it going to be helpful?
I don't know. I think it could be like especially for like beginners, but if you just like give them this like straight on angle, like you just do this and like as I said before, like it could work on this angle, but not I don't know, they're probably gonna have a hard time like for beginners.
Yeah.
To
This
like
might be a bad advice for someone who's just starting in drawing, because they might end up doing this exercise like and rely on this.
Yeah. Like,
so this could be like yeah, bye.
I mean, it's not that like if you're just starting out, I guess, but I think what could have made it better is if he added like some basic like the thirds of the face and like how to measure like roughly where to put the eye, where to put the nose, like yeah, I think it's better to just
Go for
learn.
the proper way to
Yeah.
approach this one. I think that's going to be a lot more useful for you in the future.
Yeah, definitely. And if you want to draw things more dynamically, you're gonna need to learn them anyway, so why not just start from the actual proportions rather than just looking at like art tips. Yeah.
But I might use this method.
it's
It
quite
depends on,
useful,
like,
yeah. You can use it on this angle, I guess. Okay, that's all for the videos.
That's all, folks.
Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned some things from
Something
the animators' point of view.
from us.
Yeah, and don't forget to click the bell button and subscribe if you like the video. Thank you so much for watching. Peace.
Oh Lord. Ako susuka.
At tagal-tagal ko na ginagawa to. Kala ko sanay ka na.
Nobody's gonna know.
Let's hear it. Let's hear it.